What's up, everybody, man? We back, man. Shoot, episode 26 here. And it's been an overwhelming thing to experience the amount of support that this podcast has gotten. I really love you guys for that, man. Thank you. Really, thank you for the support. This episode, we have somebody really special, the homie Tanya Pons. She's a yoga instructor, and her life journey has been just really, really dope. And it's something that I think that you guys are going to love. I think you guys are going to hear it and hear how she really, she's a real fighter. She's put herself out there. She's never been afraid to take risks. And I have to say I respect her because of that. I respect the fact that she really, despite her circumstances, has always made things happen for herself. And her journey is pretty dope. I think that everyone's gonna hear it. You guys are gonna love it. So it's the reason why I wanted to have her on the podcast, man. For that reason alone, and the fact that it's different to have somebody who's taken another path in life and done something different. So it's always good to hear from another perspective. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in the last few episodes, man. Shout out to Ashley Ann, Eddie, my man Eric, my man Darren, and just everybody who's been on the show. I just really appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Whoever I missed, I'm sorry, but everybody, even from all the way back to Lenny, man, thank you guys for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate everybody, man. Other than that, man, I hope you guys enjoy this show, man. Take care. Be safe. Otherwise, man, I'm out. Enjoy the show. Peace. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Yo, welcome back to the Brian Johnson Show. Here we are. It's a crazy thing. Here we are, episode 26. I have a really, really, really very interesting person on this episode today. And I say she's interesting because I've known her for a long time. Like many of my guests, I've known for a while. But this lady has, how can you say, she's blossomed into a very well-to-do woman, and she's like developed herself into a lane that I didn't see coming. I don't think many of her friends saw coming, but she's gone into the spiritual realm of yoga.
Yes.
And she is now an instructor. And we're going to talk to her about her experiences and how she came to be in the yoga community. And we're going to talk about a lot of different things. How she got here, how do we make it here, and everything else. But we're going to talk about just like how important it is to be mindful in this day and age and mindful of a lot of things. So without further ado, I have the homie Tanya. Please tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Wow, where to start? Well, yeah, I began my yoga journey probably in 2013, maybe.
2013.
Yeah, and it's funny. It started on Instagram. Flipping through Instagram.
Okay.
I came across a page of a
just
yogi.
so you know, before we go any further, just so everyone knows, we're in a Panera Bread in Rutherford, New Jersey,
Yep.
and we're doing this right here. So if you hear people in the background, hear music in the background, that's because this podcast, like I always say, wherever, whenever, that's when we do the podcast.
That's how we do it.
Right? So, all right, so not to cut you off, go ahead. Now, you started in 2013, you said.
So I'm flipping through Instagram and just looking for images and things that would inspire me, right?
Because you're big into
looking
inspiration?
for some sort of inspiration.
Yes.
And I came across a page, Laura Sakura.
Okay.
And super famous Instagram yogi.
Yes.
And her pictures were so dope. I mean, like they and I was always into like dance and being creative and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, this page is great. I'm going to follow it.
Right.
And all the things that she was doing, all these poses and stuff, I was really inspired by. And one day she puts a post that says, I'm teaching in Lodi, New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, that's up the road. I need to go there, and I'm going to go do yoga.
Yes.
Just,
Yes.
had maybe done it once or twice, like at a gym or something like that. But I was like, all right, I'm going to go and check this out. It'd be really cool. I'd get to meet her. Maybe I was searching for something, right? So I go, and it was rough.
So let me ask this few questions before we go any further. We leave it at it was rough, and let's take it to the beginning of this. So okay, so the Tanya I know, right? I know you because we went to college together for a little while. You know what I mean? Before I got X'd out a little bit on that level. We'll talk about that. But when I remember you back in school, you were always like you were just a light bright. Like I mean, not meaning because of your skin tone. I'm talking about just like your energy levels. Like people were just drawn to you because you were very not scared. You were not a afraid person back then. And then I remember you got deep into school, and then you joined a sorority, if I'm not mistaken.
Mu Sigma Upsilon Sorority Incorporated.
Ah, yes. And this was at Willie P.
Yep.
For those who don't know, that's William Patterson. And while you were there, what kind of things did you ever have any creativity going on there at that time? Because I remember I'm going back to there. Now I know you since high school, but we're going to that point because I knew that at that point your life had changed a little bit at that point.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I moved out of my house, my parents' house, that probably early sophomore year, going into the sophomore year.
Yeah. So
I was off-campus apartment. I decided I was going to live on my own.
So
I was do my own thing.
She was an adult at that point.
And I'll even go a little bit further back. So I was working part-time, and then I wasn't sure how I was going to pay for college.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how I was going to pay for college. And then the company I was working for was being bought out by a larger company.
Okay.
So my boss at the time said, hey, they do tuition reimbursement.
Oh.
But they don't have part-time positions. You have to go full-time.
So you were working full-time and going to school full-time?
Yeah. So but then I got a full-time paycheck, and I was like, listen, I'm gonna go do this on my own thing because I'm independent and I want to live the college life on my own.
Oh my God!
Let me tell you, if I could go back though, I would tell people stay home and save your money
and enjoy your life a little bit.
Take it easy.
Were you always that sense of independency was always there for you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I was always just, I got this. I could do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
And it's funny. I look back and I'm like, I would think I was a little more fearless back then.
Okay.
Than I think as you start getting older.
Yeah, because responsibilities begin to kick in. You're like, wait a minute.
No, I'm sorry. No. How do I pay for what?
Wait, that's what this toilet paper is $15?
All of a sudden you're using less sheets.
Exactly. Fuck this shit.
Paper towels are expensive. You cut those in half.
Oh my God. Anybody who's an adult at this point understands when you're in your 20s, you will do anything possible to save money. Anything.
Yes. Especially back then. But then I also, so now I'm working full time. I'm going to school.
And you were heavily participating in your sorority at that point. Yeah.
And I wanted to be active in my sorority.
Yeah.
And I don't like going a little bit half. I wanted to be all in, right? So then I wanted to be president, and I wanted to, but I'm a commuter.
Yeah.
I have an off-campus. I have roommates at the time, but kind of living on my own, sort of.
You're
right?
living the life of someone who's supposed to be doing that after they graduate.
No, I decided I'm going to do this early.
Right.
Then I want to be active in the sorority, and I want to have a social life.
Yes.
So, apparently I thought I could do it all. And it worked. I mean, at a certain point I had to cut credits back.
Okay.
But that worked out, So I was doing I was just under full time.
All right.
So it took me a little bit longer to graduate. But to go back to your question as far as creativity, I did stepping, strolling, I loved performances,
right.
Things of that nature. So as I said, I was always into dance and being active.
Right.
Moving around, obviously, right? Juggling.
How did that work for you socially? Were you able to hold on to friendships, or it was just you were there with friendships, but you were always doing something, so you was friendships kind of in and out?
The sorority helped, right? Because I was doing things, right, and being active, and then being with my friends. And my sisters,
You had a lot of sisterhood.
It was amazing. I mean, I have my best friends for life are part of the sorority, and very grateful for my experiences in the sorority. I've met some amazing people and have made some amazing friendships through it. But so that helped.
Yes.
That helped to retain the social and the friendship, but still being active.
Because that balance, that time, you were basically living a double life at that point.
Yeah.
Because that work, I mean, having that balance there probably helped you maintain that balance throughout your life in a certain kind of way.
And it was interesting because it was always part-time everything, right? So I'm at work, and everyone around me is older. They're in a different stage in their lives. Whatever. And
you're the little young buck.
Exactly. And usually the young buck in every crowd. It's interesting. It's always been that way. But
old soul.
Yeah, I guess. So I'm there, and they don't understand that I gotta go run, and now I gotta go do homework. And,
hey, everybody, I just sent that email, but I gotta go. I gotta do work.
I gotta do work. I gotta write my paper.
Yeah.
And then, I gotta go prepare an agenda for my sorority meeting, and,
How did you have time for just Tanya time?
I don't know that I did.
Okay.
I don't know that I actually did.
Okay.
So, it was that constant moving and juggling, and it's almost like, you see the horses in New York with the blinders?
Yes.
As long as you don't look to either side and you just keep moving forward.
That's an incredible amount of focus, too.
Yeah, but that's the only way, right?
Right.
For me, it was I'm either doing nothing or I'm doing everything, right?
I got you.
I don't know that it was very balanced, and I guess you could do that when you're younger.
Yeah.
Problem is, as you start getting older,
things begin to change.
It's different.
Yeah, man.
And I think I do very well when I understand what needs to get done.
Okay.
And so the sorority, like you had it, like these are the meetings and these are the things you have to organize, right? And then for work, these are the things you have to do. And then for school, right? So everything was structured.
Structured.
That allows you to like keep it moving. It's when like now you have to decide what you have to do, right? So after college, it gets a little bit harder because now you have to decide what are you going to focus your attention on? What is it that you want to accomplish?
What did you go to college for in the first place?
Communications.
That's right. You were a communication major like myself.
Yes.
Yes. Now, the job that you were working at, did that have anything to do with communications?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, boy. Okay.
No, and here's the worst part, right? So the advice I got, and I guess it was coming from a good place, was, you get into a company.
Yes.
And if you get in early, as long as you have that foot in the door,
life will be great.
Right. Like you're going to have all this experience and it'll be easier for you to get a job. What they didn't mention was it needs to be a foot in the door in what you're trying to do, because just being in a company.
Yes. If you're not doing what you're going to school for, all of it, nothing makes sense.
It's pointless. So I'm working I was working for a medical laboratory.
Right.
At the time doing billing.
Right.
And eventually, right, as I'm starting to get towards the end of, I can't remember if it was right before I graduated or was it after. I think it was after I graduated. I tried to go look for other jobs, and it was rough out there.
I love how you said try.
Because that's when the economy was going.
So that'd be circa 05, 07, 08?
08.
08. Oh, yeah, man. Things went to shit around that time, boy.
And I tried, and then I was like, okay. People were getting laid off, right? Like, you kept hearing this company. So it's like,
I lost my job, so I totally know.
Now, I've been doing what I was doing at that point since 2001.
Yes.
So I'm going to leave a company.
You've been there like 8 years at that point, right?
Yeah. Well, so 2 years at the company before it got bought, and then, but I get to keep that the start date.
Right.
So, granted, I was moving around and moving up.
Right.
Every 2 years, I was doing something different, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave a veteran here. Where I started young, I've gained all this experience, whatever.
Right. You know everybody, you know everything.
I got this. Now I'm going to go to another company to be a rookie.
Heavy rookie, yeah.
And potentially be laid off if they decide they're going to cut costs. I was like, okay, I have to do something different. So I turned that job into a career, and I got into management there.
You had a good amount of management experience from just dealing with the sorority and dealing with those people.
That leadership.
So that ability to know how to deal with people's attitudes and stuff like that probably helped you a lot in that situation. Now you're going into management in this place that you've been there for a while. How was it for you workload-wise, now that you're out of school and everything? You're probably making a bit of change. You got money. Well, for the most part, we call that money in 20s. Look, you got a steady job. All of us never. That didn't always work like that. Okay, just FYI to everybody. And you're coming into your own. What kind of parallels did you start to find, like sort of who you were, or you were just kind of like just going? You were in the motions. You think?
I think I was going in the motions.
Okay.
Right. Like, what's my next step? So I'm going to stay here. So now I have to turn this into something, right? If that was my decision, if I'm going to stay here for now, I got to turn this into something.
Right.
So then I said, okay, but I went to school for communication. So I'm going to reach out to the vice president of communications of the company and see if I can do a sit down with her.
Nice.
And I did that.
Yo, you have real cojones for real doing that.
I was like, what do you got to lose? What's the worst case? She's going to say, I don't have time. She's going to say no.
Right.
And you know, I said I wanted
That's
to do
my
an
always theory with
informal-
everything in life. If you don't reach out, what's the worst they can do is say no? Okay,
say
you
no.
move on. Right.
So I'm going to do an informal interview. And I sat down with her. And I kind of told her my story. I said, you know, I've turned this into a career, but this is what I went to school for communications.
Right.
She's like, I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to have you sit down with every member of my team.
Oh, wow.
So she let me come back and interview everyone on her team. What I learned from that.
That must have been a hell of an experience.
It was awesome. Yeah. It was great that that everyone sat down. They were very honest and open with me. But a lot of it, what I learned was in the communications department, they were hiring people with communications experience. And although I've been working for the company X number of years, it was going to be very difficult for me to get there.
Right.
Not necessarily impossible, but very difficult.
Right.
And then at that time, so I'm walking away with this, like, okay, now what I wanted to do in my career, but I also don't have experience in it.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm in my mid-20s, right? So I only have the degree, no experience, because I didn't get to do internships because I'm working full-time and I have an apartment, I got to pay for it. Or, you know, my part of the apartment. And
so this time you're still staying with the
roommates. Still got roommates and stuff.
How was that having roommates after college that long?
Actually, probably no. Probably at this point I was living with my fiance.
Okay.
So, but I lived with roommates right prior to that, like for a while, and actually it wasn't bad.
Right.
It was I always had good roommates. I have to say that. So it was.
You got lucky
really
on
an
that
issue.
note.
I did.
Because I can tell you some stories about some of my friends and their roommates, and you know things just didn't go right. But guys are different. Shit goes left.
Well, I will say I had some interesting situations, but my early on roommates and stuff, they were interesting, but that's for another conversation.
I dig it.
But yeah, but I had bills to pay. Yeah. It was like, all right.
Especially living here in Jersey, you gotta pay them suckers.
Bergen County.
It's not a joke, B. You will pay.
But so I couldn't really. I wasn't ready to take a pay cut to go get the experience to do this, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm going to turn. And then at that time, I got promoted to supervisor.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, I can turn this into something.
So now you're running your own department.
Right.
Okay.
I was like, all right, I could do this.
Yeah.
This gives me some direction. But I think, like, to your point, kind of going through the motions, as I'm moving forward, something's missing.
Sometimes when we just take things that come to us, we think God sent it to us. We take it as a sign and everything else, and then we wake up and realize that was the wrong sign.
That's not the direction.
It's not the direction, but it takes a long time to get there. It doesn't go right away.
Yeah, and I liked what I was doing.
Yes.
So it's not like I was going into work and hating it. You know, I liked what I was doing and enjoying
blessing.
it, but something was missing. Something was missing.
You kept feeling something scratching, nipping at you like, yo, you're not. Yo, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, what year did you become supervisor of the department?
Oh, I have no idea. Now I can't even remember. I'm horrible with dates, but I want to say it was 2011, maybe.
11.
Yeah.
That must have been an interesting year for you at that point.
Yeah. No, probably a little bit. Yeah, about 2011.
2011.
Yeah. So, you know, my relationship ended. So then now I'm with roommates again. Because at that time,
but you're much older at that point.
Now I'm older. But I moved in with an old roommate who was outstanding and is like a best friend for life.
Okay. Because sometimes women get older, they want their space.
Oh yeah.
They're heavy on that space.
But I couldn't afford my own space in Bergen County at that point yet.
Wake up and realize.
I still had college bills.
Yes.
And
the debt monster of college. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So between that and life. So, but she's definitely a best friend for life. So it actually was a great situation, and was able to kind of work through that. And then I got promoted again and was able to kind of get my own place, and then finally, officially on my own.
How was the work environment back then to these days? How was that work environment back then?
I think,
because you've been in the corporate world for a long time.
What I would say changed in the corporate world is when the economy hit and things started getting tighter.
Yeah.
I feel like we started losing some of the fun morale stuff that companies used to do, right? Like the big Christmas parties, right? The big recognitions and events. And then it just became about how do you do more with less?
Yes.
And where do you cut costs?
Yes.
And it became so work heavy. And it's gotten so much more kind of aggressive.
Yeah. I think it's been competitive. I think that the market shift back then caused a lot of competitive. As a woman, being in this corporate environment, how did you ever face some discrimination or issues?
No, and I think mainly because the industry I'm in has a heavily female based.
Female based, okay.
In leadership and medical billing, I guess, for some reason. I don't know. I'm in an interesting world because I don't know that people say, like, when I grow up, this is what I want to do.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, this is what I want to be when I grow up.
People just kind of fall into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you have any interest around that time when you were falling into it? Did you have any outside interest, like creatively, around that time?
I think that's the part that was missing.
So you were just completely going full blown.
Yeah, just going through the motions. Like, I'm going to go to work and do work, you know?
So you would go to work. Let me just break this down. You would go to work and do your 9 to 5 thing, and then comes Friday, like, yo, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm going to chill. So there's always something missing.
Yeah.
Because if you
droning.
go back to where I was in college, right?
Yeah.
Constantly moving and this and that, and I had juggling pieces and whatever. So things were definitely something was missing because it was I did that life to just go to work.
Yeah.
And come home.
Did you ever feel? Did your days start to blur?
Yes.
That's
monotony of time, yes, where the days blur into the other, one blurs into the other.
I can tell you that is the hardest thing.
It's interesting. It's that actually is what kind of got me looking into yoga and transitions into how I ended up getting so heavily into yoga because I like to travel. And there's a travel story in my yoga journey because I'll go back to kind of where the yoga starts. So I'm going through Instagram, right?
Right.
I see Laura Sakura. I go to her class. That was rough.
Yeah.
And I'll explain that in a second. But then at that class, there is a postcard.
Right.
This studio is doing a yoga retreat to Mexico.
So, have you ever been to Mexico prior to that?
I had not been to Mexico.
Okay. Were you nervous?
Yeah, because all of a sudden I decided I'm going to go to Mexico by myself on this yoga retreat. Because who was going to, just get up and go to a yoga retreat? Mind you, with no yoga experience.
Yeah.
Like,
so how did the homies receive this? Well, the homies like, yo, Tanya.
Wait, what?
What are you smoking again?
Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Like, you're about to hit Mexico for a week by yourself with some random strangers. But I didn't know these people from Adam.
Were you going through any kind of, you're not even in midlife yet. You're going through a cultural crisis.
You know what it was? Something was missing.
Okay, the missing part.
I wanted to travel.
Okay.
Right? How do you not let the days blur into each other? You have to do things that take you out of that day to day. So, you want to do different experiences. You want to go experience it. You want to go see things, right?
Yeah.
Take something to break the time.
Right.
Because if not, the days will blur into each other.
The days blur, man. I have times when I was working at a corporate location, and it would just be like, okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday would blend, Sunday would blend, because it'd be so quick. And next thing you know, I'm back on Monday, and I'm like looking around, like, did the last 2 days even happen? Did you ever find yourself like ready to run out of the building and be like, I'm going to go take this trip to Mexico. I'm out. I
think that's exactly what happened. I was ready to be like, all right, I'm out. I need to go do something different. I wanted a different experience. I wanted something. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take this vacation.
Okay.
And I don't know these people, but they're from Jersey. They gotta be fine, right? They're local. I know where they work. I know where some of them work, right? So I'll leave someone with their information, right? If anything happens. So I get on a plane and I go to this trip.
Who meets you at the airport?
Nobody.
So where in Mexico did you go first and foremost?
Tulum, Mexico.
Tulum,
so
Mexico.
you actually go down to Cancun,
Okay.
and then it's about like, I want to say it's like an hour. About. So I took the hotel shuttle to the resort.
At least you speak the language of the country, so you should be all right.
Yeah,
to
and
a
I mean,
point.
and they speak English. I mean, they'll so get down there, have it amazing. I mean, it's beach. Tulum, Mexico is outstanding. Definitely recommend it. I have like this beachfront
Nice.
like hut kind of thing, or it's not a hut, but like the room, but there's no air conditioning. Okay, so this is the type of resort I ended up at. No air conditioning, and there's only Wi-Fi in the cafeteria area where you go eat.
Yeah.
So like, there's no Wi-Fi in the room, so
So
you're disconnected.
did you start freaking the first couple of days?
No, the first couple of days is great.
Okay.
Right? Like, because the first couple of days, it's almost like this, you're in another world. You've left the bubble of, like, the day-to-day.
The bubble is real. Once we're in this bubble, we don't even think. Had you traveled prior to that quite extensively, or this was, like, the first time you really just bounced?
Probably second. One of my sorority sisters got married in Kenya. So we got to do, like, a trip out to Kenya. So I think that's what hit the travel bug.
Yeah.
Was that amazing trip.
Kenya, Africa. We're talking about Africa here.
Yeah.
That must have been amazing.
Yes.
Jesus.
And we went on safari. And
You went on a safari?
What? We stayed in a resort in the Sahara, in the Masai Mara, okay? And let me tell you about the resorts out there.
My life has not been...
Let me tell you about the resorts out there, okay? There is like an electric fence, but at night, you can hear the hyenas.
Oh, snap.
Like, laughing. Like, I'm talking about Lion King, okay? Like,
Lumunda!
seriously. I mean, we looked down from the dining area, and there was a stream with hippos in it. I mean, it was far, luckily, because you don't mess with hippos.
How was the smells and the food?
Everything was good. I'm not a massive fan of goat, and they eat a lot of goat.
Yes, they do.
So that one was rough for me.
Curry goat is a real thing everywhere around the world.
Yeah, and actually because they did multiple like ceremonies. One of them they had to like kill a goat and like,
wow,
the whole thing. It was an experience. It was amazing. Totally recommend it for anyone to go out there just to see these animals in their natural environment.
But it must have been a totally different experience than when you went to Mexico.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking two different worlds. And also now I'm on this trip by myself.
Yes. So you got a lot of alone time at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And now you're spending time with corporate Tanya.
Yeah.
You're spending time with creative Tanya. And you're spending time with crazy Tanya. Yeah. How are you dealing with all this alone time to do a lot of thinking, I'm guessing?
I think it was needed at that point.
Yeah,
right? So you'd get up 6 a.m.
Right.
And I am not a morning person. So you had to actually get up before 6 because class was at 6. So you'd get up and you'd do a yoga class.
Nice.
Then everyone would go to the dining room. You'd eat. And then chill out on the beach until the afternoon yoga class. So it was 2 classes a day. Right. And you could go or you could not go. It didn't matter, but you paid for them, so you should go.
Yeah, obviously, if you spent the money on them, you might as well be there.
And then in the evening, maybe get a massage, whatever. Chill out, have dinner.
You can hear waves at night and stuff?
And I had the best room because I got the breeze where it was like I was getting the crosswind.
I could imagine
because other people were dying in the heat because there was no air conditioning.
And were there a lot of, because when I go travel, I'm always worried about the mosquitoes. I think I'm going to get bit up to the high heavens.
Yeah, I mean, I brought all the sprays. All this. I mean, I even had like clothing spray to make sure that I could spray the net.
Wow.
That you would they would lay over the bed. So yeah.
It's okay. You had a lady stop by while we're doing this. Go ahead.
So I had all the sprays and everything.
Okay.
But it was amazing. It's almost like I needed that.
Okay.
And anyone who's never traveled alone, I totally recommend it. As long as you can do it in an environment that's safe.
Right.
And this was like alone, but not really alone because you were kind of you would follow what the group was doing, but no one messed with you when you were like off on your own and this whole bit. So.
Did you learn at that point? Had you had any experience with meditation?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
So you were really green.
I was like, I'm just gonna go do this.
Wow.
Why not? Let's just YOLO.
One thing I gotta say I'm learning from this podcast right now is this woman has balls of steel. She will go out and do the damn thing without conscience. And that right there is probably more than likely served you so well in life. you probably don't even realize it up until now, like how much that ability to, because not a lot of people are willing to jump. A lot of people think they're willing to jump, but once they get to that cliff and they're looking at that cliff and they're like, they see that other cliff where they could get to, but there's a gap. They don't want to do that. They'll walk back the other way. You're like, okay, we walk back. Now I'm going to run and I'm going to jump.
You want to laugh? I actually literally jumped off of a cliff with that same idea. I went to...
I'm done, folks. Okay, on that note.
I went to Hawaii, to the Big Island.
Yes.
And there's South Point, which is the southernmost point of the United States.
Oh, okay. I've heard of this before. And that's not on the Big Island, though.
It is on the Big Island.
It is on the Big Island? Okay.
So you go to this cliff, and in South Point, you can take pictures. Yeah, you're there. And jumping off this cliff is a thing. So jumping into the ocean. There's like no lifeguard. Like this isn't a beach. You're jumping off the cliff.
Once you jump, it's on you.
Yeah. So we stopped by South Point on the way to the airport.
Yeah.
So like, we're gonna take pictures, and then there was a young lady there, and she was about to jump. So she jumps, she comes back up. You're climbing rocks to get back up. Okay, there's like stairs or some sort of stairs, but they're real shady looking.
This is extremely intimidating.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So she gets to the top and she's like, I've been living on the Big Island for X amount of years. I'm going back to the mainland. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to do this. I've seen people jump and I think it's crazy and I thought it was silly, but I feel like if I leave and I don't do it, then I may never get a chance again. And I was like, why did you say that? Now I'm sitting here thinking, if I don't do this, am I ever going to get to do this?
Right. You got to live it in the moment.
I'm on the way to the airport, okay?
You could have made it out. This could be over for you at this point.
Oh, yeah. No, but I was like, when am I ever going to get to jump off of the tip of South Point?
Yeah.
I might never come back here, because if I come back to Hawaii, maybe I want to go to one of the other islands.
Right. Correct.
So I take off my shirt. I'm in my sports bra and my leggings and decide that I'm going to jump.
And there it is.
And the girl was like, I'll do it with you. That way, like, because she saw, I was nervous. Like, don't think that I went up there like, I got this. I was up there like, I'll show you the video. I have it. Like, I am like, my hands are shaking. I can feel the blood like going through my veins. It was.
The adrenaline is probably rushing.
Serious. And I'm like, am I crazy? But then I'm like, no, she just did it and she was fine. So I'm going to be fine too. Right. So she goes, all right, 1, 2, 3. And I hesitated and then I just went, fuck it, I'm out.
God is good.
And jumped right off. But so to your point, yeah, sometimes. But it's that idea that like you only really get to live once. So you can't always hold yourself back because you're scared. Right. That doesn't mean you have to jump off of cliffs. That's just extra. But it does.
You're not saying everybody should jump off a cliff.
No, I'm not saying people should jump off cliffs.
Or bridges, anything like that.
No, not at all. But, like it's like someone who says, I want to jump out of an airplane. I want to skydive one day.
Skydiving is dope.
And that's what I want to do. And then they never do it.
Yes.
Why not?
Why not? Because you only got one trip around.
Exactly.
It's only one trip around. When it's over, you don't listen. When you're in your 80s, you don't want to have no regrets. That's what my grandmother taught me. She said, when you get older, you want to have said you lived a full life. So when it's time to go, it's time to go, and you can accept that. It's when people have not lived a full life is when they can't accept when it's time to let go. Did you? Going down there, did you have a lot of them? Did you start having like emotional times, like when you would just be like by yourself in tears, thinking about all the shit that you had gone through or gotten here?
100%. I think it was very reflective.
Because you had said you had a relationship that had gone south.
Yeah, we broke it off.
And then you were down there.
And now, it was before that. But you're always kind of evaluating.
Yes, self-evaluation.
How did I get here?
Yes.
How did where did what mistakes did I make or what were good decisions versus bad? And just trying to understand and how do you move forward?
Right.
And you don't always have like these epiphanies either, right? So I can't even say that I went on this trip. Well, let me go back. I thought I had an epiphany. Okay. I'm on this trip in Mexico by myself, having an amazing experience. Right. I come back telling everyone they should take trips by themselves. That is life-changing. And now I have a weekend of 2 days of yoga, or two classes of yoga a day. Right. Like, yoga's life. This is amazing.
The energy's transitioning.
People need this.
Right.
Yeah, that lasts but so long because then you get back to real life. And I'm like, I'm going to go to yoga every day. Maybe I'm going to go 3 times a week. I got this. I went to like 2 classes, and then all of a sudden life happens, and I'm
back into the
back
zone.
in the zone.
Oh, wow.
Back in the zone. Left it. And but something always called me back to it.
Yes.
Like,
you hear the kid in the background. It's okay. It's okay.
They're all right. They're safe. They're safe.
Yes, everything is good.
They want a brownie.
They'll get a brownie.
Mom's not letting them have a brownie. So like I gave up.
You gave up?
Gave up yoga. Wait.
I was slow down. We're going fast.
Yeah.
You gave up yoga after you went to 2 days, and then you were done because you got back into the zone.
And
this is circa after you had gotten back. How long after you had gotten back from Mexico did that happen?
Well, at first, you're really sore because that much yoga is actually a lot. It's a lot on the body, whether you're trained or not, right? If you have a practice or you don't,
so you have recovery time.
So you have recovery time. So you do have to recover.
Right.
And then I was like, I'll come back. So I came back to a class.
Yeah.
But again, just to remind you, this is rough. I am not flexible and I'm not strong. But that's why you go.
Right. So you can gain that flexibility and strength.
A lot of people that stick to yoga, and this is why it's very important not to get lost in the images and the pictures that you see online or what you think in your head of what yoga is.
Yes.
Is because a lot of times the people that really stick to it are the ones who find some sort of ease with it.
Okay.
Naturally bendy people. People who are maybe really strong and some of the things become easier. None of this was easy for me. None of it was easy. Not one pose could I do.
So downward dog was like, what?
What?
Yeah.
On the shoulders, on my hamstrings. I mean, so...
Had you been working? I gotta ask this question.
Yeah.
Were you regularly regimented with working out? I should say after work before you started doing yoga, or it was just one of those days?
Here and there. I mean,
so
I had
you
maybe
were
at
spotty
one
with
point.
it.
Yeah, like I always was active, but I was the one with the gym membership that didn't always use it to its full potential. But I did go. So again, I was active, but
kept looking like, where does $60 keep coming from? Why
exactly.
Yo, where does $60? I keep losing $60. I had $60 there yesterday. Oh, the gym. Fuck.
I should go to that.
I'm wasting massive dough.
There were years where I would be super motivated, or times in my life where I was like really motivated. I was hitting the gym, whatever.
Yeah.
But this wasn't one of those times. And actually, around this
was
time,
one of those moments.
No, and actually around this time, I was actually gaining a lot of weight.
Oh, okay.
So,
did you have any self-confidence issues with your body and everything? Because a lot of women go through that. As I've noticed over the years, a woman's weight and fluctuation will also affect how she is on social media, how she is with friends and family.
Yes. It definitely impacted me, and not because the weight mattered, right? It shouldn't matter.
Right, it shouldn't matter.
But I didn't feel good because the reason I was gaining weight was not natural. I wasn't being good to myself. I wasn't being kind to myself.
Yes.
And I think I was eating to fill
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Voids.
Yeah.
I wasn't, and I feel better when I'm active. I feel better when I'm eating.
You feel alive.
And balanced with my food. And I like to eat, but
Yes.
balanced with my meals. And I was struggling with weight. So that's why I was like, yoga's great because I love it.
Right.
And it could help me, to lose weight and
Gotcha.
stuff. But I was tired. After a long day work, I can't do this.
Yeah.
You know, and then I would get motivated again and I would go.
Right.
Like it'd be 2-3 months later, I'd go back. And I'd go back hard, right? I'd go back 2-3 times for like a week, 2 weeks. And I would be like, look at this handstand. How long would it take me to do that? And my teacher, Victoria Arvizu, who is amazing, who I went to Mexico with and has changed my life. She's like, the good 2 years of dedicated practice. 2 years. Who's got time for that?
Are we still in 2013 or we're in 2014?
2013, 2014.
Wow.
I'm like, it's going to take 2 years for that? I got time for that. Like, 2 years. I want to do it tomorrow, right?
So you had to be, what age were you at that time?
13. Wow, now I'm going to have to do math on the spot. Here we are, what was I, 28?
So you still were in like an impatient stage in your life.
Maybe, yeah.
So were you do you think you were in a patient stage? Do you think you were very impatient at that stage in your life?
Very impatient.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been very patient. Like, right? Because it's like, I got to go. I got to do this. Right? We got to do this now. And right? I have zero patience. So I'm like, this is...
that's not like a Happy Meal. It's like something you can't just order and just boom.
You can't.
No, you have to really work on it.
I had to learn that something that you really want takes dedication. It takes time.
Hence why we're here with this podcast. It takes time.
It takes time. It takes practice. And you have to motivate yourself. Or you can't wait for the motivation. You have to just go do it.
Right.
Because you're not going to wake up one day. And maybe some people do. But it's not easy to wake up and be like, I'm going to go do this. You know, after a long day's work.
Talk about it. Talk about how hard it is to, you work 9 hours, because really you say you're going to work 8 hours. No, it's 9 hours.
Not in this day and age.
You're working 9 hours. You busted your behind for somebody else's dream. You come home, and you got to turn that part of your brain off and go do something else. You just sometimes, all you want to do is just grab what's ever in the fridge, pop yourself in front of the TV, and decompress.
Right. Well, I deserve this now, right?
Yeah.
I deserve a break.
Yeah.
I should just sit here and relax. I'm tired.
In our mind, that's how we justify it.
100%.
And I started to realize that I become the master of justification.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't even know it.
It's so easy to do that.
Yeah. I had mastered justification way before I had mastered giving myself reasons to do something. And did you ever find yourself at that point where you were just justifying everything? That's what you had taken.
That's exactly where I was. Right. And then I wanted to get out of it again. So another trip comes.
Okay.
The same group, they're going to go to Costa Rica now.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to get back into this.
All right.
Hit up Costa Rica.
About that challenge life.
There's a whole different group now, but still my teacher, Victoria.
Yes.
Leading the group. And, you know, it's funny. She's one of these people, and she created the style of yoga that I teach. She was one of these people that would always reach out. She always kind of like tapped me on the shoulder. Hey, where you been? When are you coming to class? She always reached out. And it's funny. She always reached out at the right moments. And always had me with one hand in the room, right? Like one hand, like, so when they did Costa Rica, I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do this again.
All right.
Got this.
This is a different experience at this point.
Now we're in the mountains of Costa Rica doing yoga. Oh, it's amazing. And you're eating healthy.
Right.
And so you're eating right. You're in the pools and you go to the rainforest. I mean, I went ziplining through the rainforests of Costa Rica, right?
That's a life-changing experience in itself.
100%. These amazing experiences.
Yeah.
You know, then I come back, I hit up a couple classes, and the excuses start rolling in.
Ooh.
Again.
That excuse,
Brian.
You know, that addiction or that mastering of excuses is something else.
But it happens.
Yes.
It's so normal. It's so common.
Yeah.
And it's how do you get out of that?
It's the law of ideas. The law that if you come up with people come up with a mastering idea at least once a week, but they never chase it down because they find some excuse not to go for it. Yep. And you found yourself in that spot again.
And I was spiraled because it was like a circle, right? Because I found something. There was something there, and my body would crave it.
Right.
My body would literally ask me for yoga. And so I was trying to do it at home a little bit because I would go to classes, and I'm like, I look silly.
Okay. Let's slow everything down. You at this point, you're saying you felt silly at these classes after you've done 2 trips.
2 trips.
And you're still at that point.
Silly. This is
How
hard.
is that even possible? You should be the most confident person in the room. You've
100%.
done 2.
And especially, I'm a naturally confident person.
Right.
Right? You get into your own head. But it's everything else. Right. It allows you to create stories in your mind. People are looking at me.
Yeah.
I'm the only one grunting. Why am I sweating so much? You know, like, and the person next to me looks like a ballerina, right? And so I was getting into my own head. So I was like, I'm going to do this at home a little bit. Do it at home a little bit. And again, something was still missing, but I could tell that there was something about yoga that kept calling me back.
Okay.
My teacher said, I see a post from my teacher that says, we're doing yoga teacher training in Lodi. This is up the road from me. Now, I had considered teacher training before with her, but they were always like in Hoboken. And I'm like, I can't be traveling to Hoboken. I mean, parking in Hoboken is rough.
I was talking about that today with somebody. The parking is a serious thing. Like, even when I do shoots in Hoboken, I always tell people, meet me in Edgewater. We'll go in 1 car because we're not going to go in 2, and you're going to get stuck there. It's not going to happen for you. It's not going to happen.
You got to Uber to Hoboken.
Yeah. Yes.
But so I think that I would have considered this yoga journey earlier had it not been in Hoboken. I don't know.
My thing
or
is
maybe
like
it's timing. Maybe sometimes it comes when it's supposed to.
you're feeling silly, and then all of a sudden now you're gonna go out and teach.
I didn't want to teach.
Okay.
I had zero intentions to be a teacher.
Right.
I have a text message to my teacher going, I feel connected to yoga somehow. I don't know what it is about it, but something keeps bringing me back.
Okay.
And I said, I want to do teacher training because I need something to hold me accountable so that I keep coming back, so I don't quit.
Right.
I think if I do teacher training,
Yes.
I will stick to the practice.
Oh, so
I
you're tricking
needed
yourself into
something
doing
for
it.
accountability.
Yeah.
That is the only reason I went into teacher training.
Do you think that's been a common thing in your life?
If you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Horse with the blinders.
Right.
College. Once I knew what I needed to do, right, I could do it.
Right. Because you did that with the sorority.
Yep.
You did that in school.
Yep.
You did that at the corporate place. Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
I need something to hold me accountable. Something. I
Something.
can do it.
Right.
I just need that accountability.
Because you were accountable to the job. You were
Yeah,
accountable
to
to
the
your
sorority,
sorority, to your books. Okay, yeah.
So I have to be held accountable in order for me to stick to this.
Wow.
So I am
you
going to go
found your
do this.
trigger. Yeah.
But now I'm going to go do this with 12 other people. They all happen to be female, but in my group. But these 12 other women who have been doing yoga consistently, and here I am, inconsistent.
What did your parents think about all this?
They didn't understand it. They were like, "Wait, what?"
Do you have any siblings, by the way?
I have a lot of siblings. I have 3 sisters and a brother. All younger.
All younger. How did they feel about this? Was it like, here goes my crazy sister?
Yeah, like Tanya's getting into something else now.
Did you ever try to drag any of them with you? Like,
all
look.
the time. And it's funny, you try to drag other people when you find something that changes you. You want to bring other people to it in hopes that it would do the same. But everyone's in their own path and their own journey, and people connect to things differently. This is something that changed my life.
Okay.
Because the lessons, I can probably now give you any life lesson and relate it back to the mat, right? Everyone's on a different journey. Don't worry about the person on the mat next to you. You don't know what their struggle was to get to where they are. You don't know the number. You see someone doing something like, let's say, a handstand or whatever in life. You don't know the number of hours that they practice to get there. And you're thinking, oh, this person's naturally talented, or this person just got here 3 classes in and is doing it.
I've seen dudes in their 60s doing like the headstand where they're just doing a headstand on their elbows, and I'm staring like, what is he doing? Like, I seen Russell Simmons do it in the back of the day, but I saw other people doing it, and I'm just like, how does he even do
It's
that?
amazing. Oh, look at that. Oh, I can't do that.
Right.
But you don't know the number of hours they put in to get there.
Yeah.
The dedication that they had. You know, you think that someone walked in, and some people do. I've seen people walk into their first yoga class, touch their feet to their head, like it's nothing. But that same person may not be able to hold themselves up in another posture, right? Like some people are naturally bendy, some people are very strong, you know, and
it's like
some people got to work for it.
Right. It's like with me with running. I see people come in with running, and I'm like, this dude hasn't run in months. But he's outrunning me? That's not even possible.
But you can't judge yourself by where someone else is in their journey, because there's anatomy, there's
physiology,
there's maybe he used to be a runner, so his muscle memory is different.
That's true too.
You know,
big truth.
You can't judge yourself by other people's standards. You just can't in anything in life. So I came to this practice to be more dedicated for myself.
Got it.
And as I learned more about yoga, as I kept doing it, I realized that I wanted to share this with other people.
Nice.
Because if I felt this way, you know, before yoga, and yoga helped kind of maybe focus me more, then other people could too. And it's funny because you say, oh, I don't have time, or I'm too tired, or whatever, but you know, you have time for the things that you want to make time for.
When you find that ability to discern which one is what's important, what's not important, prioritize.
What do you
stuff.
want to prioritize?
Yeah, and
because I went from not going to class, right? Like my job didn't change.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to class 3-4 times a week. Now I'm like, no, I got to go to class. Oh, you guys want to go do this? I could do that after yoga. Now I'm going to go to yoga first.
Right.
And then I'll meet up with you guys later. That became important to me because I started recognizing a change in myself.
I was just about to ask you, how did your social interactions change?
Well, I spent a lot of time doing yoga. And it's funny, that's where my dad was like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, la yoga otra vez. La yoga. Esa yoga. Because he didn't understand. Like, you know.
How old are your parents right now?
They're older. They're in their early 70s.
Yeah, they're definitely looking at you like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, like yoga. And you know, and then they don't know what yoga is, right? And try to explain yoga in Spanish.
They think you're a hippie.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, what is this? You know, is this religion? Is it, you know, cultish? Is it, you know?
They think you got a religion of yoga. Like, they're like, are you ever coming back to church?
Yeah, seriously. And it's like, but I found it focused me. When I don't, now, if I miss class, because, and I teach, but I mean, when I miss my own practice, I don't feel as centered. I don't feel as focused. It is my moving meditation.
I got you.
Because I don't find it easy. I'm struggling. I'm working on meditation now, and I struggle with sitting
sit still.
Yeah,
oh man, it is never easy. I follow the teachings of Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he teaches that still motivation. I mean, still meditation and moving meditation. And sometimes it helps us to have music playing in the background. It could be everything from Aretha Franklin. Doesn't matter. It's just whatever is going to help you clear your head. Did you ever find yourself getting too far in your head when you're like too removed from a class, or even at time when you had stopped after coming back for like 2 weeks and you was like, oh, I'm stopping?
Yeah, because you start getting into the motions. It's so easy in modern living. I think that we were talking before about just so much information, right?
Yes.
So much going on, moving, and your constant connection. It's almost like too much, right? So if you don't stop and slow down, it can be, you can burn out. And yoga was my time that in our classes are generally an hour and a half, so 90 minutes. My 90-minute class, you can't think about anything else.
Right.
Because you're trying to hold yourself up.
Yeah.
You're trying to move. You're trying to listen to the teacher. What's next,
Yeah.
And I found it for myself, and everyone is different, but I found it that I was more focused and I would give more in my practice when I went to class, when I was in the environment. And the energy of my studio, the co-op here in Lodi, is amazing. It's ridiculously supportive. People there just root each other on, and
that's love.
It's an amazing environment that my teacher has created at this studio and in this style of yoga. And it's fun. It's a fun environment. And so there's different styles of yoga. The one that high energy fusion yoga, which is what I teach, and it's a style that Victoria Arvizu created. It's a mixture of traditional yoga. Yes. But yoga's, a couple hundreds of years old, right? So these are ancient postures.
Right.
And we live a very different life
than what was back then.
Back then, right?
Yes.
So
quite different.
Very different. And you're starting to see
slaves.
the body itself change.
Yes.
Even just now, or everyone working on their computers, or just the way we're sitting right now, we're hunched over, shoulders forward.
Yes, I should have got better mic stands.
No, but that's normal, right? You're on your phone, right? You're looking down constantly, right? So it's this rounding of the back.
I do feel like, because I've thought about joining a yoga class, because I'm like, I need to, I really believe in being, stretching and flexibility is the key to youthfulness. And I really think that you need to, as you get older, you need to be waking up every morning, no matter what morning you wake up, and you need to stretch everything out before you get started. So I believe in what you're saying.
You want to counteract what you're doing, right? The body adapts to what you do, and the body adapts to what you don't do.
Yes, because I put on weight, and I know I have. But
it's adapting to what you're not doing, right?
Yeah.
And it's important to be mobile. So but a lot of yoga, a lot of different styles of yoga, the body's not always ready to do certain things, depending on the body. For me, I can't just easily do a back bend. I need a 90-minute class to warm me up and get there. And the style of yoga that I teach, and high energy fusion yoga, is very mobility based.
Right.
So you're moving. It's preparing the muscles, preparing the body to then be able to do some of those ancient postures.
Dope.
Because my teacher, she also is not bendy at all. She was a Muay Thai fighter.
Oh my God.
So exactly. Yeah.
Talk about a scary boss.
And she went to yoga because she needed to do a split for a salsa class.
Wow.
So that's how she found yoga. And
she's a great inspiration to you. I can see that.
And her understanding of the body, and her understanding of how challenging this could be for most people.
Like
and then
99.9.
Yeah, and she's so innovative about her viewpoints on how to get people to that mountaintop, right? The goal isn't the posture.
No, it's not.
At all.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it looks cool.
No, it's not.
And they're fun to do.
Right.
But that's not the goal at all. You know, and her thing is you want to feel better. And these are the things. And just going to a yoga class, trying to force yourself into a pose, you're not going to feel better.
No, you're not. Ooh. No, you're not. And I never really did a yoga class before, but even when I stretch for a track or for when I'm running and stuff like that, it's like you have to really know what you're stretching for. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to stretch my back out and do this. It doesn't necessarily pan out that that's what you need to be stretching for. You need to like really know what you're doing.
Yes.
How was the teaching? Did it take you a while to catch on to how to teach?
I think that it came I don't want to say naturally because I was a mess. And I'm still kind of a mess. But I think that I was so passionate about what I was teaching that I had fun.
Yes.
And I wanted other people to have fun. And I think that in our style of yoga, you're coming to a different environment because I'm playing hip hop. Okay. All right?
I did not know this.
Oh, no. Oh, Drake is usually on the playlist. All right.
Snap.
You know, there's a little Cardi B going.
I'm thinking we're going in there. We got some nice calm music. There's probably waves
Biggie.
playing in it.
We take it back sometimes. It's got a little Biggie.
Wow.
No. Or,
I'm busy nodding my head while I'm trying to do a downward dog. Like, okay.
But,
yo.
And everyone is not the same.
Yeah.
And my teacher teaches with that. My teachers teach with that style of music. And I think that's what drew me to it. Because the music allows me to forget about the fact that this is rough. Give me those blocks, help.
Let me ask you a question. Now, I've heard plenty of people, like I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan's is a really dope podcast, and he talks about how they had Sober October this year, but they had Sober October last year. And one of the stipulations of Sober October is they all had to take a yoga class, but they had to take hot yoga. Now, what exactly is the difference between yoga and hot yoga, other than hot yoga, other than it's just hot?
Well, the room is heated, right?
Okay.
So, and the heat allows you to relax the muscles, and you can get deeper and a whole bit. I did some hot yoga and there are different types of hot yoga. Some was like where the postures are routine, so like it's the same set of postures as you go, and some are not. I'm not a massive fan. I don't like the room being that hot. Like, I get dehydrated.
I heard it smells pretty crazy in there.
You know, because I did it in Costa Rica in this massive room and this beautiful, like, I can't say, you know, for other studios. So ours, it gets hot, but that's because we build heat from the inside out.
Okay.
So because we constantly keep you moving, you're going to warm up the body. All right. And that warm up gets you to then relax the muscles. Okay. And some people can go to a hot yoga class and feel amazing. It wasn't for me.
All right.
It definitely, it's too hot.
I got it.
I need fans.
Right.
But I also don't like it cold either because then I can't get into a posture.
You like it like lukewarm then?
Yeah, I need to be warm, but I
you.
can't be hot.
Right.
And I sweat a lot. So it's not cute.
Funky.
It's not
funky.
cute.
I know. I understand that. It's a different thing when you hear people describe it on what exactly it is. Because I've heard stories about people say, "Oh, I don't do yoga. It stinks in there and everything." And then some people are like, "Yo, I love it. It changed my life. It made me feel a lot better."
Yeah.
I think it's all about people perceptions and what they're willing to go forward into. Now, you said you struggled at first with the teachings.
Yeah.
And learning how to do the teachings. What were some of the differences between just doing it and then being able to teach it?
Oh, it's extremely different. You think that you take a couple classes and you're like, oh, I know how to do this.
Right.
But then trying to explain people where to put their foot, you know, and then body parts. And you don't realize how, like people don't know their body parts.
Yeah.
And then put them upside down. And then you definitely can't, right?
There's a lot of moving around of a lot of body parts, and guys and girls. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, but you got to get out of your own head.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that everything takes practice and time and dedication. You have to be kind to yourself. And I struggled with that, right? Because I wasn't perfect at it. But I'm supposed to be good at this.
Did you ever have like a person that you would? Because I've ran in Hoboken before, and I looked up, and all of a sudden there's a little spot in Hoboken where you can you sit out by the water, and you can see the Freedom Tower and everything else. But there's like this lawn, like this really long lawn, and they had yoga class out there, and it's like damn near 100 people out there, and I'm just like, wow. I guess I want to do this. Did you ever start developing having yoga buddies, people that you would go to class with? This is the homies and stuff.
The studio I work at, we call it the co-op, and it's like that, right?
Okay.
Even people that were in my class, that taking the teacher training with me, but also people that went to the studio were extremely supportive.
Okay.
It's such a supportive environment. It really. Even if you felt uncomfortable, it was very easy to get out of your own head because there was somebody always there cheering you on.
That's dope.
And
that's probably similar to what you went through with the sorority and everything. Finding that community. Community, I could tell for you, has been a very important thing.
It is important, right? You need people around you to help you, because when you're alone for too much or too long, you get and no one can do it. You can't do everything by yourself, right?
We want to.
Yes. But you need people around you. People lift you up. They get you out of your funks. They keep you motivated. They keep you focused. And sometimes they could also drag you down. So you got to be focused at who you're letting into your life and how they impact your life. But I've been blessed to have extremely positive and supportive people around me. My friends, my family, even with there she goes again, la yoga. Even then, they were still supportive of me.
And the fact that you're the oldest sibling, right?
I am the oldest.
And the younger ones still support you is big.
Oh yeah, I mean almost every family member has been to a yoga class, including my mom. My dad probably shouldn't go. I don't recommend it. Not for my style. It's not the relaxed
The fact
kind.
you took your mom there.
Yeah, well, my mom works out 5 days a week.
Oh, okay,
my mom's
okay,
a gym buff.
Okay.
But even her, she lifts weights, all this and that, but she can't hold herself up in downward dog. So it's just, I find it funny because she loves bodybuilding and whatever, but you can't hold your own body weight. You need yoga. You need to, for everyone who likes the gym and working out and lifting and all of that, yoga is a great counterbalance to your practice. It complements your workouts. And we're in my studio's in a Muay Thai gym.
Okay.
The Muay Thai fighters, when they come and they take yoga, they're noticing they're kicking higher. They're they're feeling more agile, and so it's a great complement to your other workouts.
Got it.
As well. I mean, I use it as my main workout, but everyone is
well, the one time I tried to do a workout class that was different, I did a boxing class right next door to here. Now it's a UFC gym, but it was a boxing place right here. I took it with my homegirl, Erica. Shout out to E. And I did it with her, and she makes fun of me to this day. Erica Gibson is her name. She makes fun of me to this day about me taking the class. I was boxing. I was tearing up the bags, and they had incremental minutes. So they'd be 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, and they would cut down, and all of a sudden, by the time they got down to the third round, because it was it was 5 or 6 rounds, I was so gassed. And then they had to stop and do push-ups and get back up and punch the bags. And I was like, yo, I thought I was in shape because I could run a mile well under 9. And I was like, I
got this.
Oh my God. I guess that's how the body, I guess how his mom felt. She was like, oh, I'm great. No, it didn't go down like that.
Yeah, nope.
Goes down like that. You never know until you try it, something different that you might not be in that kind of shape. Yeah. There's always a different kind of shape for each kind of thing. I think.
And it's funny. The yoga practice is extremely humbling, or at least the physical practice of yoga.
Yeah.
There's more to yoga, but the physical practice of yoga is extremely humbling because you get something, right? You're like, oh, this was I wanted to get this pose, right? And again, not the point, but let's say that's something you're working on. And
competitive level goes up,
right? You're like, oh, I got this. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now you can press into this other pose. And I'm like, damn it. There's always, you can always level up. But, and I think that keeps me motivated, right? Because I like the idea of the goal.
Okay.
Here is a goal.
Okay.
And I'm going to work towards, something to work towards. And not to beat yourself up about if you're not there, but it gives you something to focus on. And to be mindful in what you're doing, because it gives you that it gives you somewhere to go, somewhere to head, and that's important in anything, right?
How are you nowadays, because you found this this journey and this love that you have now, have you found you scratching that itch?
I found something that I'm passionate about.
Okay.
That doesn't always mean that it's easy, right? Because you're passionate about it doesn't mean that you're gonna wake up every day and just naturally do it. It's still
Right.
a struggle. It's still something I have to work on.
Gotta fight through it.
Yeah, and I have to go, and sometimes life pulls me away from it, and I have to put myself back in because I remember how passionate I am about this, and that's how it changed in my life, because I like how I feel after I do this. And that feeling is something in anything that you do is what to remind yourself about, is how you feel, how that thing makes you feel so that you can keep coming back to it.
Feel good.
Yes. Every time. I've never walked out of a class going, I shouldn't have been here.
Right.
You know, or like people say that you don't never walk out of the gym regretting that you went to the gym.
Nah. We call it runner's high.
Yeah.
We call it runner's high when we do that.
But you end all our classes in Shavasana and final relaxation pose. There's a couple minutes of just resting, meditation, and usually laying down, although you don't have to lay down, but most people do because you want to pass out after a long class.
Have you ever thought about, because I see you on Instagram and I saw the poses and I was like, hold on,
who's that?
Yeah, Tanya? Oh, snap. And I saw you doing your thing. That's what inspired me doing this episode, because I was like, yo, this is not the person I knew. Mm-hmm. And she's going out here doing this. This is really dope. Now that you're here and you're there, like, how did your interaction, like social media and everything else, how did you start to feel towards the rest of the world? Did you start to understand, start looking at things from an outside perspective and being like, you know what? I'm here, but I'm not trying to be all the way in here anymore.
You know, for me, it was, I wanted to show people, Instagram became for myself, right? I wanted to see my own progression.
Yes.
But then I also wanted to show people that the journey and that it isn't easy for everyone, and that I want people to see where I started from to see where I'm going to end up as I continue to do this.
Correct.
And I post things where I'm falling. And I hit my head and I'm rolling out of something, or people are literally holding me up to get me there, so that I can show that it doesn't come easy, and that you have to practice at something.
Yes.
And Instagram is interesting because I can say for myself, I'll have videos or things, and I hesitate sometimes to post it. You know, you do still get into your own head. Like, you can have moments of clarity and then moments of fear. And and how is this going to be perceived? And do people think I'm only posting pictures of myself? Like, you know,
does she have friends? Does she have friends?
Yeah.
When guys are dating, I always tell guys to look at when they look on Instagram. I was like, yo, if she's always posting herself, there could be problems. See if she has friends. It might not even be her pictures.
Yeah, like, you know, or how vain or whatever, right? And you know, so you hesitate, or does it look silly me posting these motivational quotes with a picture of me, you know, on my head? You know,
I was like, I wasn't even taken aback. I was like, oh, she's growing. She's growing. Because I know you're past you. I don't know you. Who are you now? Right. You know what I mean? And it's just, you know, you see a person grow, because obviously we all have our trials and tribulations that we go through. Especially, I'm the oldest of my siblings. You're the oldest in your family. We don't have nobody that lays down the groundwork to teach us, don't do this, don't go left, don't go right. 100%. You know, and our parents are like much older. They don't really necessarily get that zone.
No, and mine, you know, weren't born in this country. So, you know, they couldn't really pave the way of what it should be like. I mean, and not that they didn't set great foundation and give you that work ethic, and that you have to have work ethic if you're coming into this country, you know.
Work is super important.
Yeah, and, you know, so they couldn't. I mean, even when I went to college, you know, I was at orientation by myself. You know, my dad didn't speak English,
right.
How much was he really gonna help me? My mom hadn't done this.
I was in orientation with you. I was there.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, and I'm seeing like other people with like their parents and stuff like.
my grandmother in orientation, I was by myself too, so I totally understand that.
You know, and so you almost have this feeling like, all right, but I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this. It's not okay. It's not a woe is me. It's just okay. These are my circumstances.
Probably feel that independence in you though.
Right, because I'm not gonna sit back and not do this, right? Or sit here and feel like, you know, I'm a victim, or you know, life this sucks or something. No,
Right.
like, you keep trucking forward and you handle business. And again, it's not always easy, but sometimes you got to put the blinders on and keep it moving.
So that's the inspiration of you going teaching and everything, is just that you were like, I'm going to go and learn and build this. Do you have any aspirations monetarily for yourself with this? Do you want to write ebooks? Do you want to take this on the road teaching? How do you feel about going forward with this as a business? Do you want to open your own studio? I'm just asking.
Yeah. Not in this point of my journey. I came into this more because of the passion and how it makes me feel to teach others. Yoga can be somewhat lucrative, but it usually isn't. You do it more for the love,
right.
less about the money. I do want to continue teaching. I want to continue to grow.
Right.
I want to continue to learn.
Yes.
And then I want to be able to teach other people what I've learned through my journey, and then in hopes to help them grow and learn as well. That's my goal with it right now, working towards my 500-hour certification in teacher training. So I'm about to finish that at the end of this year, which is actually fairly quickly, but it's because I dove into this, and that's my goal. My goal is to learn so that I can teach others to do the same and bring it to more people.
Now, how has it changed for you in the corporate world, being that you've opened up this whole new world to yourself? Has it been rough being back in that, or how do you find yourself?
It's a juggle.
Okay.
You try to bring some of the things that you learn from your practice into the corporate world, and that patience.
You should see her face right now. I wish listeners could see her face.
You gotta have patience.
She is gripping. She is grinching down on her teeth. Something serious right now. Like, it's
because to manage people is not easy.
No, it's not.
And not just the people aspect of it. The managing the workflow. I manage the billing operations, so it's managing the processes, the operations, and then the people.
Right.
So it's not just one thing, and that's why I need the practice. It allows me. It gives me a way to center myself, because you can get a little nuts out in the corporate world.
And
it
you
can
get
make
lost.
you a little crazy.
Yeah.
And you're fighting almost, right, with
Right.
people to get things done, and things
Right.
got to get done, and you have to be aggressive, but then you also have to be kind.
Right.
You have to be understanding, but you also kind of need to be a little bit of a pit bull.
I'd be so scared of you right now if I was in that office.
You gotta
and all of a
have
sudden, Tanya's coming, bro.
One of my
Put the laptop down, bro. Come on, hurry up.
one of my team members comes to my class, and she's like, it's different. The work me and then the yoga instructor me, they're two different.
Yeah.
And not because I'm two different people, but you got to bring a different environment.
You can't be one person all the time.
Right.
Life is not meant to be that way.
But it has helped with the patience.
Yeah.
And understanding of people, and understanding of people's journeys. And understanding you don't take things as personally, because you realize, someone snaps at you.
Right.
Usually isn't about you. I mean, unless you did something, but
You
for the
know,
most part,
times you
right,
can feel it's not about them.
you can tell when it's not about you.
Do you feel like you're more in tune with your emotional intelligence? Like you're able to feel things a little bit better and feel your way around things a little bit more?
I feel like that I find myself working towards that more.
Okay.
Focusing more on that, trying to be more self-aware.
Yeah.
Trying to, and that's kind of the also the point of the practice, right? Self-realization and constantly trying to grow. And I don't know that I've reached anything yet, but I've put myself on a path that is going to get me there.
So you're feeling things. That's good. You're getting to feel
all the feels.
That's what you got to do.
the feels.
You're dealing with somebody. You're dealing with somebody. You be like, yo, I know it's not about me, man.
Yeah.
What's going on with you, yo?
Yeah.
Talk
exactly.
to me. Talk to me. I've learned now at this stage of my life, I never react on an angry level anymore with people. I kind of just be like, okay, what's the matter, bro? Talk to me, because me and you can talk. You don't have to be angry. And I think that's helped a lot with a lot of people, because I came from disability. I had to deal with people that were very sick, very upset, very pissed all the time. It was easier for me just to ask them what's wrong than it was for me to tell them why they're wrong.
Yes.
Tell me what's wrong. And I began to understand that little change turned over for me. I can see that happening for you now.
Yeah.
Instead of you being like, yo, why didn't you finish this report? You're like, listen, tell me what's going on with you that you didn't finish this report. before you come down on them. I think that's a dope thing.
Yeah, you also kind of remind people too, or I try to, right, that when you're frustrated at work, it's the environment and not directed towards them, and to remind people to also be understanding to you too, of you, and try to approach things without judgment. Try to kind of assume positive intent.
Truth.
Which isn't easy, but it's important, right? You don't want to assume people are kind of trying to get over on you at first, and give people an opportunity. But it's rough too in the corporate sector because you also have a job to get done, and it's a hard balance to be.
People want things
loving.
done the way they want done now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to be loving and seeing it always from a positive perspective, and wanting to be there and help people, but also you got a job to do.
Exactly.
And it's a rough balance between the two, but that's with everything in life, right? You got to find a balance and be okay with that.
Work-life balance. It really is the truth. Now, in this stage of your life, now you're here. You've achieved a lot. You've gone places. You've seen things. What kind of advice would you give young Tanya? And what would you give advice to someone who's just starting out?
I think that I would have. I still get on myself a little bit. I think from that journey where I told you where I found something and then I would stop it.
Yes.
And I would go back to it again.
Yeah.
I knew something was there, and then I would let fear kind of slip into it.
The fear monster never leaves.
And I kept thinking like I would wake up one day and it was just gonna be different, right? I was gonna feel different. I was gonna be ready.
Right.
You're not always ready to do what you want to do or what you need to do. But you want to think about what it is that you want.
Right.
Right. If you want to be healthy, then you just need to start taking the steps towards being healthy and not wait for the perfect moment. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And not think that because you want to be healthy, it means I have to do 20 million things to get there, right? I have to meal prep, and I have to go to the gym, and I have to... No, like you could just take one step towards what you want, and then you take the next step, and then the next step, and not overwhelm yourself with the end state of what it's supposed to look like that you never actually get started.
Right.
So, I was so kind of wrapped up in what it needed to look like, right? That I wasn't going to class because I didn't look a certain way, or I wasn't doing it, so that would be my advice to myself is not wait for that perfect moment, to find balance.
Yeah, early in the game.
Ooh.
And stay home a little longer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like if you can save money, save the money first.
Yes. I learned that the hard way.
Yes.
So hard. Okay.
And understand that if you have a passion and you know what you want to do, let's say career-wise, that those steps that you're taking early is towards that career. Don't just take a job. And it depends on your circumstances, right? And who knows, maybe that job that I took led me here.
Right.
Would I not be here had, like you wonder,
It
right?
wonders,
Like
right.
butterfly effect, right? Like had I not,
exactly.
Where would I be, and would I necessarily be in a better place? I don't know.
I think it's like you said, it's the butterfly effect. You just never know.
You never know.
You gotta say thank you, Lord, that I got here. But I think you also gotta remember that there's always another step that you could take.
Yes.
And there's so many variables. There's no way to tell if it was the right or the wrong decisions. I think a lady once said that I spoke to. She was like, "You make decisions, you live with them, you pray that they're right, and you keep moving, and you just got to keep moving. There's no sitting idle because time is the only thing. You can have millions of dollars, you can't have millions of years of life."
You only have one life.
And you got to take advantage.
You got to enjoy it.
I think you've taken full advantage of your life at this point.
Trying.
And it's amazing, yo. It is fully amazing. I want to say, first and foremost, thank you for coming on this.
Thank you for having me.
Really, really appreciate it. Where can they find you, and how can they reach out to you if they wanted to get started?
Well, on Instagram, Pons, PONS_yoga. And I teach at the High Energy Fusion Yoga Studio here in Lodi, New Jersey.
Yes.
highenergyfusionyoga.com. Definitely check us out there.
The link will be in the description.
Awesome. Yes. And the studio is outstanding. All the teachers there are amazing. And I teach on Thursday nights right now. So definitely come check me out. It's super affordable. It's $8 a class.
Oh my, what?
Yes.
$8? No way. Yes. I was expecting to say like $80 a class.
No, this is affordable yoga. We're trying to bring yoga to the community. It's $8 a class. No membership, no nothing. You come, take a class, check us out. I teach, beginner flow, but it's open level. I just kind of explain things for people who've never done yoga before. I try to.
What should the guys wear when they go to yoga class?
Because
this is always a question because girls got yoga pants and guys, people are loving this forever. But what are guys supposed to wear?
Anything that you wear to the gym, although you can wear the tights under the shorts.
Okay, I was about to say you want to wear. Okay, that's
the tights under the boxer shorts. The boxer shorts. You hear me? The basketball shorts.
but like Nike track pants are fine, right?
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
And if you're gonna go to a yoga class, the first one might be real rough.
Okay.
It might be rough.
Is there beginner levels?
Yes.
Okay.
Or open levels. All right. We teach open levels, so we keep it open to everybody.
Okay.
We keep things for people who are more advanced in their practice and people who are starting out. But also, don't get into your own head. Like, sometimes what you're seeing around you is just people that have put in the time. And the only difference between a master and a novice is the master has failed more times than a novice has attempted it. So you got to keep at it and don't take
people?
Your first class.
Listen to what she just said. That right there is a major key to life. Just because you see it's the same thing in photography. If you see somebody out there who's done this amazing picture, you don't know how many bad pictures they take. I guarantee you, they've taken way more bad pictures than they've ever taken great pictures. It's just the nature of the business.
Don't let that be the reason you don't keep going. And yes, yoga is hard, but if you find it real hard, you probably need more of it.
Yes, very, very true. I think I'm gonna take. If it's $8, I need to take this damn class. I need to get my life together right now.
I'll get a good playlist for you going.
Thank you. All right, Tanya. Thank you for coming on again. Everybody, I really appreciate the support. Thank you for checking out last week's episode, man. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been listening. If you haven't been listening, well, you need to be listening. You'll find out eventually. And just thank you to everybody. And please, man, listen to what she said. She's dropped a whole lot of jewels. Her journey has been really, really dope, man. I just want to say that. And thank you guys. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys next week. You know what time it is, man. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at, the Brian Johnson Show IG. And stay tuned, man. I got a website coming soon.